Morning, folks. Just give me a wee minute to get Facebook on board. Hope everyone's well this morning. John, you just made it in for the show. Lucky you. You've missed the naughty step. And I see Wolf Pet's feeling extremely liberated this morning. Right, that's Facebook on board. So as I say, how are we all this morning? A minute for people to get on board. Say hello to a few. Stephen Bankier, Mad Monk, Eddie, John Baxter, Bruce Moorland. Good morning, Bruce. Hi, Roshan. Nice to see you there. Hi, Ange. Hello, Melanie. Good morning. Hi, Save Grangemouth. Hi, Doug. We're there in Facebook land. Numbers are climbing nicely. Hi, Eddie. Hi, Graham. How are you this morning? Sunny in Perth. We'll get there in a wee second as the numbers are climbing nicely. Okay, let's get this underway, shall we? Indy took Davy out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it's clearing up. 9 degrees. Should have burnt off in about an hour. Anyway, the pollen counts moderate. Winds will gust it up to about 15 mile an hour where there is a breeze. Humidity is high at 81%. And dew point is at 6 degrees, so about 9 o'clock tonight. Okie dokie. Hey, they're a heavy one for you today when it comes to the forecast. Anyway, that's what the weather's like here in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. If you want to know what the weather's like where you are, look at your own bloody windy. And as you can probably see by the reflection of Charlie's activity centre over there on the wall, sun's out on the south side of the house. Still overcast on the north side of the house, but hey ho. Right, as you can imagine, folks, there's only one story in town today. And that one story is why I look so fucking tired this morning. Because when I got in last night, I then spent a bit of time looking at the tariffs that had been imposed, which economies had been hit the worst, and which economies hadn't. And when you look at it logically, you can see Trump's hit the economies that sell the most cheap stuff into America, or the economies where most imports come from. But let's get into it. First up this morning, we have the Herald. Now, this afternoon, we'll go into which economies got hit the worst, and also what it means for Scotland. Because, as you can imagine, the think tanks were going fucking mental. We're up all last night crunching numbers. And the first one out the blocks here in Scotland this morning was Strathclyde University's Fraser of Allender Institute. So this afternoon we'll have a wee look at what they say the impact of these tariffs will be on the Scottish economy. Okay. But anyway, first up the Herald, let's put it up. We are finally going to be able to make America great again, apparently. And Trump ushers in a golden age for the USA with a raft of reciprocal tariffs. Reciprocal tariffs. I didn't know we were tariffing US goods. But then again, tariffs haven't really been high in any of our minds if we're no importers or if we're no manufacturers who are selling to the US. But as I say, this is the main story today. We'll see if it makes America great again. So we shall. That'll take a bit of time, of course. Next up this morning, we have the Scotsman. I'll put it up. The Scotsman has UK hit with 10% levy as Trump tariffs unleashed. By the way, that's a general across the board sort of thing. There are still a sector-specific tariffs. You know, like the whiskey industry's already been tariffed by 25%. Will that now drop to 10% or will it go up to 35%? These are questions that need looked into and need answered. And up in the top corner there, you get a picture of John Swinney, who's out in America for Tartan Week. And his job of drumming up business for Scotland just got a wee bit harder. A wee bit harder. Right, next up we've got Times. I'll put it up. As I say, they're all on tariffs today, most of them anyway, except for some of the red tops. Right, Trump piles on the tariffs. British importers hit with 10% levy. EU faces 20%. New charges start Sunday. So 12 o'clock Sunday, going into Monday, these new levies apply. What's interesting about it is, these levies don't apply to the UK manufacturer or the UK importer of goods from America. These are American importers of worldwide goods who will pay these tariffs. Okay, as I say, 10% is a sort of blanket tariff across the board. There is sector-specific tariffs. As we know, there's 25% on metals, and there's 25% on automobiles, no matter where they come from. And of course, the 25% metals apply to Europe. So there's sector-specific tariffs, but the 10% is a sort of blanket tariff. And this afternoon we'll get into what economies get hit harder than that. Okay, as I say, we'll break down what it means for Scotland's economy according to the think tanks as their reports come out. As I say, first one here in Scotland out this morning was the Fraser of Allender Institute's a number crunching on these tariffs and how it will affect Scotland and its economic growth. Well, we'll stop sharing the Times. Next up, we have a Daily Fail. I'll stick it up. As I say, but the majority of them are all on tariffs, folks. Trump tariff war on foreign scavengers. There you go, we're scavengers. Donald Trump triggers a global trade war last night, with Britain among the countries hit by the tariffs, basically. What was that? Brexit Britain is hit with 10% export tariffs, but EU hammered with 20% levy by US. There's a reason for that. And I've said what the reason is. The EU sells a lot of cars to America. They like their Mercedes-Benz, they like their BMWs, they like their Audis. But Trump wants them to move their manufacturing to the US and to create jobs in the US. We'll see if that's what happens. Or whether the Americans will still buy these vehicles because they're prestige vehicles and they actually fucking work. One of the reasons why American cars don't work here is because they're gas guzzlers and they don't go around bends. American motors are alright if you want to go on a straight fucking line. So will the Americans just swallow it and continue to buy European cars? I don't know, we'll see. Right, down with that one. Next up we have the Telegraph, and guess what, folks? We're still on fucking tariffs. Right, Trump unleashes tariffs, and there you see he's got a board, a scoreboard in front of him. Nations down the left, sector specific down that column in the middle, and average tariffs down the outside. And PM's Law Chief makes veiled dig at boss over attack on judges. Attack on judges. Starmer the dictator continues with his clampdown on human rights. He's having a go at the judges. Did we know Bojo the Clown do the same fucking thing? I think we did. Bojo and his Tories tried to muzzle and weaken the judiciary. Is Starmer about to do the fucking same? Interesting headline, that one. Or byline, should I say. An interesting byline. Right, next up we'll get the Rancid, and as you know I don't put the Rancid up. So what's the Rancid got for us today? The Daily Rancid has celeb demand BBC U-turn on Axe soap. Stars join fight to save River City. Film icon Richard E. Grant backs campaign. Dozens of big names sign letter in support. I don't know whether it's fucking worth saving or not. I've never seen it. Hi Lauren, thank you very much. The 10 is on top of tariffs already imposed. Sky News AM. I was saving up for this afternoon, Lauren. Come on. Got an hour to fluff out the moment this afternoon. So there you go, folks. The industry, the Scottish whisky industry, has just been hit with an additional 10% tariffs, as Lauren has made clear. And that saves me ordering onto that to this afternoon. Okay. As I say, we will go into which economies he hit the worst this afternoon and which ones only get hit with 10% on tappy sector-specific tariffs which already exist. Okay, let us move on, shall we? Next up we have The National. Let's put that up. The National's got its usual whack of headlines. Alba official hits out at election misinformation. Have absolutely no idea what that's about, what election it's talking about, whether it be the leadership election they've just had or whatever. I have no idea and a very little interest actually. Right, more than 40 killed as Israel moves to seize territory in Gaza. Trump's playground in the Mediterranean gets a wee bit nearer. The main headline, what's next for Greens? Harvey announces he's stepping down as co-leader after 17 years. Who's who in leadership race? And tributes paid to Trailblazer. Now, Patrick's just stepping down for the front line. He's going to run again as an MSP. We'll give you a more into Patrick's reasoning this afternoon, and we'll also talk about what it could mean for the independence movement. Okay, because there's always the possibility that the Greens could move away from supporting independence. But as I say, we'll talk about it this afternoon. Right, and David Pratt, Trump's tariff gamble. And it is a gamble. His motive is to move manufacturing back to the USA and to get US citizens buying goods that are produced in the USA. Will it work? I don't know. You've got to go all the way back to McCarthy in American history to have seen this being performed before. And if I remember right, his presidency was a fucking disaster. But it didn't seem to work first time round for Trump. Ayo. Right, take that then. Next up, we have the loony rag, the Express. Had to go dig these ones out for elsewhere this morning. The Daily Express right-wing knuckle-draggers rag. Has UK imports to US face 10% levy compared to EU's 20%? Brexit Britain escapes worst of Trump's tariff pain. The UK economy is already in shite state. And it hasn't escaped the tariff pain. They say there'll now be an additional 10% on Scots. There'll now be an additional 10% on metals. There'll be an additional 10% on whatever other sectors here in the UK that are subject to US tariffs. And the ones that weren't subject to sector-specific tariffs, they're subject to 10% tariffs now. Will the US importers buy less? Well, they only really buy high-end goods for us anyway. To say, we'll talk this afternoon about the economies he's really battered. Well, that's what the Lonely Rag Express has for us today. And after the Express, we have the Scum, and as you know, I don't put that up, but it isn't running on tariffs at all today. It's got Hamza, henchman, is still a risk. And this is the story that 7-7, a planner, Harun Aswat, has been let out of jail, and he's heading this way. He's done he's served his time, and he's heading here. He was in jail in America. And apparently he's still a risk. Well, he's a citizen, they've got to let him in. Right, so that's what the rags have for us today. Next up, sorry, that's not what the rags have for us today. Next up will be a metro, folks. And what's the metro got for us today? Heathrow had 2 fire warnings. Blame game after airport meltdown. It seems to have avoided tariffs this morning. Went back to the problems at Heathrow a week or two ago. A week and a half ago, whatever it was. And apparently, they had 2 warnings. Apparently, chief executive of the airport had told the electricity suppliers that there was a problem. He did a day in about it, and hence the fire that they say they had to shut the airport for. Of course, the power providers deny that. We're still no sure. Right, they shut the bloody place, but hell, at least it's no the tariffs again, eh? Now, what's the star got for us today? Well, that was interesting when I went looking for the front page of the Star today, because the front page of the Star has been hijacked by one of the supermarket giants. And I'm not going to put it up, folks, because it's just an ad, a wraparound. Behind the wraparound, and I couldn't find a full-size image of it, is the headline, Rats as Big as Dogs. Pick a city, any city, across these islands, the story could apply to there. So, London, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Cardiff, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham. Pick a city. Any one. And apparently we've got rats as big as dogs. Which would make them about the size of Charlie Cat there. Because he's the size of a small dog. And all the pictures, all the pictures of dogs in the paper were all small dogs. Chihuahuas, Jack Russells, that sort of thing. Okay. But I'm afraid, no boffins. Unless it was boffins that said the rats were as big as dogs. But the front page of the Star today is a wraparound from one of the supermarket giants. Picture of a strawberry sliced in half and slashed prices. I'm not going to tell you who the supermarket giant was. and I'm not going to put the image up. I'm not here to advertise supermarkets. But as I say, tariffs are the story of today, and we'll go into it a wee bit more this afternoon. I've already got an image like that one that Trump was holding with the different nations and what he's tariffed. And we'll go through what are the economies that are supplying the most cheap goods to America, because they're the ones that get hit the hardest. And I mean really hard. Interesting thing is they're on the Far East. They're on the Far East, but we'll get into that this afternoon. Aye, Ginger, it's nice to see you there, but I think your messages or your shopping is about to get much more expensive, if you like. Goods from outside the US. If you're shopping basically on domestic brands, although they're already high, I don't expect them to get much higher. Right, that's it for this morning. As I say, we will be back this afternoon. We'll have a wee look at what Patrick Harvey stepping down means to the Greens, and means for the independence movement. And we'll look at some of the other big stories here in Scotland at the moment, and of course wider around the world. As you will be aware, Putin's gone hard at Ukraine at the moment. You'll be aware that Netanyahu is still trying to butcher every single person in the Gaza Strip. So, as I say, the other Davey and I will be on this afternoon to talk about some of these things. Okay, now you guys look after yourself. Thanks very much for the super chats. Thanks to the moderators for moderating. Hit the like button, please, people. It helps the algorithm. And share if you like. Subscribe. Alright. I say we'll see you this afternoon. I'm a wee bit tired, as I say. I've sat up late looking at this stuff last night and what it means for Scotland and Scotland's economy. And I was up again at 7 o'clock this morning and discovered that the Fraser and Islanders Institute's calculations had hit the floor. So I was reading them this morning. So we'll have a look at what it means for growth here in Scotland this afternoon, okay, and how it affects the projections for growth. So we'll see you later.